شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله. Amma ba'du, my respected brothers and sisters in Islam, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Alhamdulillah, we thank Allah Azza wa Jalla who had enabled us to continue our Ramadan Tafseer, today being the 4th day of the month of Ramadan. Sisters are making noise. Today being the 4th day of Ramadan, 1445 years after the hijrah of our noble Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam from Makkah to Medina, which correspond to the 14th of March, year 2024. We ask Allah Azza wa Jalla, may He grant us acceptance. May Allah Azza wa Jalla, may He accept all of our ibadat in this month of Ramadan. We should know that the month of Ramadan is still very, very fresh. I see many of us, sisters, you are making noise. I see many of us already becoming weak. This is just the first week of Ramadan. Some people are already lagging behind in terms of Hamsu Salawat in Jama'at. That is the 5 daily prayer in Jama'ah. You can make promise to yourself that till the end of this Ramadan, I will not miss Jama'ah. I will not miss Salat in Jama'ah. And you can be marking it. There is one paper, or rather a sheet that was sent to the platform by Imam Buhari. You can print it out while you will be marking it in how your daily activities should be in Ramadan, so that you will be evaluating yourself before Allah Azza wa Jalla will evaluate you. We ask Allah Azza wa Jalla, may He grant us easiness in this month of Ramadan. Our brothers who are finding the situation very, very difficult, may Allah grant them relief. Our brothers who are in the state of war, as we are fasting in this Ramadan, may Allah Azza wa Jalla come to their aid, inshallah. This year's Ramadan, we are looking at Suratul Ahzab. And we talked about the introduction and what Suratul Ahzab entails. The day before yesterday, we talked about the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam being addressed by Allah, where he told him to fear Allah and do not obey the kafirin, those who are disbelievers and the hypocrites. And yesterday we talked about the fact that Allah was also giving him command. Some of this noise usually disturb me. Please, for the sake of Allah, it is either you keep quiet or you can go out and make noise. Allah Azza wa Jalla, He also gave him another command again, وَاتَّبِعْ مَا يُوحَى إِلَيْكَ مِنْ رَبِّكَ. Follow that which has been revealed unto you from your Lord. Inna Allah kana bima ta'maluna khabira. And Allah Azza wa Jalla told him that He is well acquainted with what you people do. Wa tawakkal ala Allah, and He ordered him to place his trust in Allah. Wa kafa billahi wakila. And Allah Azza wa Jalla is sufficient in disposing affairs. So that is where we stopped yesterday. Inshallah, we are going to continue from verse 4 now.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. ما جعل الله لرجل من قلبين في جوفه وما جعل أزواجكم اللائي تظاهرون منهن أمهاتكم وما جعل أدعياءكم أبناءكم ذلكم قولكم بأفواهكم والله يقول الحق وهو يهدي السبيل.
Allah Azza wa Jalla He said in this verse, بعد أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم ما جعل الله لرجل من قلبين في جوفه. Allah said, ما جعل الله. Allah has not made لرجل for a man. Allah has not made for any man min qalbayn fi jawfi that he should have two hearts within his interior, within his body. Allah has not made two hearts for anybody. You know the heart? We are still going to talk about it. Allah has not made for any man two hearts. Bimana, for every man has only one heart. وَمَا جَعَلَ أَزْوَاجَكُمْ. Allah said He has not also made your wives. Azwajakum, ay zawjatukum. Allah has not made your wives. Allahi tuzahiruna minhunna ummahatikum. Those women, those your wives which you divorce through zihar. You divorce them through zihar. Allah has not made them your mother. Zihar, we are going to talk about what is the meaning of zihar. Allah has not made those women whom you divorce through zihar to become your mother. وَمَا جَعَلَ أَدِئِيَاءَكُمْ أَبْنَاءَكُمْ. And Allah also has not made أَدِئِيَاءَكُمْ, those children you adopted, those sons you adopted to become your son. Allah has not made those people you have adopted to become your real children. ذَلِكُمْ قَوْلُكُمْ بِأَفْوَاهِكُمْ. That statement which you utter is only a mere statement from you. It is not a reality. When you call somebody your son, it is not a reality. It is just a mere statement. Wallahu yaqulul haq. Allah Azza wa Jalla, He utters that which is the truth. Wa huwa yahdi sabil. And Allah Azza wa Jalla, Yahdi, He guides to that which is the correct path. Now the meaning, or rather the explanation of this particular verse, Allah Azza wa Jalla saying, Ma ja'ala Allahu li rajulin.
ما جعل الله لرجل من قلبين في جوفه.
Allah Azza wa Jalla said, Ma ja'ala Allahu li rajulin min qalbayni fi jawfi. He has not made, Allah has not made for a man. Rajulun here min babi tamsil faqat. Allah is actually using rajul as a form of example. Allah is not actually talking about man as in human being like me, in exception to women. No, Allah Azza wa Jalla is actually doing this for takhsisuhu bi zikr min babi taglib. Allah Azza wa Jalla is using this speciality by mentioning man here in a manner of what? Dominance. Because most of the time when Allah Azza wa Jalla want to address human being, He will use man. He will use the figure of man for human being. It does not mean that women are what? Excluded. For example, Allah Azza wa Jalla used to say, Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu. Oh, you who had believed. If you see the amanu, Allah Azza wa Jalla is actually talking about the men and the women. But it is coming as if it is talking only to men. So Allah Azza wa Jalla saying, Ma ja'ala Allahu li rajulin, it does not mean that it is only for the men and excluding women. No, but rather what Allah means is, Ma ja'ala Allahu lil insan. Allah has not made for any human being, ayyan kana zakaran aw unsa, whether it may be a man or a woman. Sagiran kana aw kabiran, whether it is a young child or an adult. Min qalbayni fi jawfi, that he will now be having two hearts. Allah has not made for any human being to have two hearts. What does it mean by heart? Wal muradu bil qalb hasatul idraq wal aql. The meaning of qalb, heart here, is the sense of perception, the mind. Alladhi alayhi midaru silahul jasad aw fasadihi. The mind is the one which controls. It controls whether the body will be rectified or the body will be what? Will be corrupted. وَهُوَ الْمُضْغَةِ It is actually a lump of flesh in our body. It's an organ in our body. Kama qala sallallahu alayhi wasallam, the Prophet ﷺ said regarding the heart, he said, Ala innal jasad, ala inna fil jasad mudghah. He said, verily, there is a lump of flesh in our body. Iza salahat, salahal jasadu kullu. When it is good, then the whole body is good. Kullu. When it is corrupted, the whole body. Wahiya al-qalb. Allah's messenger said, that is the heart. So when your heart is good, then the whole body will be good. When the heart is corrupted, the whole body will be corrupted. Muttafaqun alayh. The hadith is reported by Bukhari and Muslim. Now Allah said in the Quran here, he said, fi jawfi, meaning in your interior. I fi sadrihi. Allah has not made for any man two hearts, qalbayni, qalbun, qalban, kulub. Allah has not made in a man, inside a man, in his chest, two hearts. So Allah Azza wa Jalla is using this. The job here is to straighten the matter, to bring out the reality of what he's talking about. Just like Allah Azza wa Jalla mentioned in another verse in Suratul Ahzab, وَلَكِنْ تَعْمَلْ قُلُوبُ الَّتِي فِي الصُّدُورِ. When Allah Azza wa Jalla is talking about the disbelievers, that what is actually blinded is their heart, which is in their what? Which is in their chest. وَلَيْسَ الْمَانَ أَنَّ هُنَاكَ قُلُوبًا فِي غَيْرِ الصُّدُورِ. It does not mean that there is another heart that is present somewhere apart from the chest. وَأَيْضًا الْجَوْفُ الْوَاحِدِ لَا يُتَنَاسَبْ مَعَهُ إِلَّا قَلْبٌ وَاحِدٌ. It is not even appropriate that we begin to say that the body contains what? It contains more than one heart. It is not appropriate. It has to have only one heart that will be controlling all of the affairs of the body. Is لَوْ كَانَ لِلْإِنسَانِ قَلْبًا. Because if human being were to have two hearts, مَسْتَقَامُ أَمْرُهُ عَلَى الْحَالِ, then the body will not be stable. Some of us, we learn biology in school. And what is the function? The primary function of the heart is to do what? Is to pump blood, right? And a lot of things that the heart does. You see the left ventricle, the right ventricle, auricle, and you see, remember? So all of those, now, assuming you are having two hearts, and this one will want to pump today, and this one doesn't want to pump. And maybe the heart begins to even fight each other. So it is not even appropriate that the body contains two hearts. That is why Allah said, مَا جَعَلَ اللَّهُ لِرَجُلٍ مِنْ قَلْبَيْنِ فِي جَوْفِهِ. The murad here is بِالْجَعَلُ هُنَا الْجَعَلُ قَوْنِي. Naturally, Allah has not made for the body to have two hearts. مَا جَعَلَ اللَّهُ عَزَّ وَجَلَّ قَوْنًا وَهُلْقًا لِرَجُلٍ قَلْبَيْنِ فِي جَوْفِهِ. So it is not possible that a man, except if it is just a mistake. You know, today we are having abnormalities whereby some people's eyes, instead of the eyes to be here, so you see some people, they will burn them, their eyes will be on the forehead. Yeah, yes. A lot of abnormalities that we are seeing today. Some people will be born, they will be having teeth. Normally, a human being naturally is not supposed to have teeth. So that is what Allah Azza wa Jalla is saying here. Naturally, a man is supposed to have only one heart and not two hearts. وَهَذَا أَمْرٌ مُسَلَّمٌ وَحَقِيقَةٌ ثَابِتَةٌ. This particular matter is very, very obvious, and it is a reality, and it is established. وَلَكِنْ ذَكَرَ هَذَا تَوْتِئَةٌ وَتَمْهِيدًا وَتَوْكِيدًا وَدَلِيلًا. Allah Azza wa Jalla, He is actually talking about this. Allah Azza wa Jalla is talking about this by bringing the issue of heart, not because of the fact that He actually wants to talk about heart, but there is something that Allah is hinting to. So He's using this matter as a form of introduction and as a form of stress to what is to come, and also as a form of a proof and evidence as to what Allah is going to mention after this particular statement, when Allah begins to say, وَمَا جَعَلَ أَزْوَاجَكُمُ اللَّائِي تُظَاهِرُونَ مِنْهُنَّ أُمَّهَاتِكُمْ, up to the end of it. So that it will serve as an evidence that the zihar that we mentioned, which we are still going to talk about, where a man will now divorce his wife in a way that is unjust, or a man now claiming another person's child and adopting that child, and that child will now be bearing his name. So Allah Azza wa Jalla is bringing this as a form of introduction to that. So Allah Azza wa Jalla said, "Ma ja'ala Allahu li rajulin
min qalbayni fi jawfihi وما جعل أزواجكم اللائي تظاهرون منهن أمهاتكم." Allah Azza wa Jalla, like I've already said, he said, "Ma ja'ala Allahu li rajulin." He has not made for any man to have two hearts in one body, in one single body. And I told you that it is an introduction to what is to come. فَكَمَا أَنَّهُ مُسَلَّمٌ وَمَعْلُومٌ إِنْدَكُمْ, as it is obvious and known to you that Allah Azza wa Jal مَا جَعَلَ اللَّهُ لِرَجُلٍ قَلْبَيْنِ فِي جَوْفِهِ, that it is not possible for a man to have two hearts in one single body. فَكَذَلِكَ لَا يُمْكِنْ أَنْ يَكُونَ الزِّهَارُ. It is also the same, that it is not possible. Just as you know that it is not possible for a man to have two hearts, it is not also possible an yakuna zihar sababan litahrim. It is not also possible that the woman whom you have divorced through zihar becomes what? Becomes haram for you. Fatakunu zawjatul muzahir minha muharramat ala zawjiha bisabab zihar. That the woman becomes haram as a result of the fact that you have mentioned zihar. Zihar is a situation whereby you tell your wife that your wife's back resembles your mother. And what you intended by that is that you want to make your wife haram to you. Wa ummallahu, and it is not possible that because of the utterances that you have made, the woman now becomes your mother. For yakunu lahu umman, else you will now be having two mother. Else you will not be having two mother. So if you are calling your mother mommy and you're also calling your wife mommy, how many mommy do you have? Two mommy. And you know that you do not have two mommy. The only mommy you have is the one that gave birth to you. ولا يكون الإدعاء سببا لبنوءا فيكون للرجل أبناء بالنزع وأبناء بالإدعاء. And it is not also possible that the child whom you have adopted to become your son become your real son. No. Else, if it is like that, it will be that that boy will now have, that child will now have how many father? Two father. And it is not possible for somebody to have two father. Your father is the one that gave birth to you. Your mother is the one that brought you to life. All of this is indicating on how Quran used to give examples, used to give evidences, so that he will convince you and establish the evidence upon you, so that you will not have any excuse to say that you do not understand. Ibn al-Qayyim al-Jawzi, he connected this particular verse, مَا جَعَلَ اللَّهُ لِرَجُلٍ مِّن قَلْبَيْنِ فِي جَوْفِهِ بِمَا بَعْدَهُ وَبِمَا قَبْلَهُ. He connected this verse to what is after it and what is before it. He said, فَأَنْتَ تَجِدُ تَحْتَ هَذِهِ اللَّفْظَ. He said, you will find under this lafz أَنَّ الْقَلْبَ لَيْسَ لَهُ إِلَّا وِجْهَةٌ وَاحِدَةٌ. You will see that the heart has only one side that Allah placed the heart. It's only one side. إِذَا مَالَ بِهَا إِلَى جِهَةٍ لَمْ يَمَلْ إِلَى غَيْرِهَا. When the heart is focused on one particular part, it cannot also go to the other end. وَلَيْسَ لِلْعَبْدِ قَلْبَانِ. A servant cannot have two hearts, in which one part of the heart يَتِيءُ اللَّهَ وَيَتْبَعُ أَمْرِ, whereby one part of the heart is obeying Allah and following the commandment of Allah, and having tawakkul, which we mentioned, وَتَوَكَّلْ عَلَى اللَّهِ وَكَفَى بِاللَّهِ وَكِيلًا. You cannot have a heart that is doing all this, وَالْآخَرُ لِغَيْرِهِ, and the other heart refuse to do. بَلْ لَيْسَ لَهُ إِلَّا قَلْبٌ وَاحِدٌ. But rather, he has no heart, he has only one heart. فَإِنْ لَمْ يُفَرِّدْ بِالتَّوَكُّلِ وَالْمَحَبَّةِ وَالتَّقْوَى لِرَبِّهِ وَإِلَى إِنْ صَرْفَ ذَلِكَ إِلَى غَيْرِهِ. So if he does not have the presence of tawakkul, mahabba, love for Allah, and having taqwa, then it is going to shift to other than what we have mentioned. Summa istatrada min zalika, then it now proceed and digress in this particular verse, ila annahu subhana lam yaj'al zawjatun rajulu umma. Allah has not made your wife to become your mother. Then he now digress again that annahu lam yaj'al da'iyatu ibnahu fanzur ma ahsan hadha at-tahsil wa hadha al-istitrad alladhi tasjudu lahu al-uqul wal albab. This is what Ibn al-Qayyim al-Jawzi mentioned in his book Isah Tafseer, that Allah also digressed and said that the child whom you have adopted can never be your real child. So Allah Azza wa Jalla is doing this in order to show an example, to speak on something, because this is a Jahili practice that was happening before Islam, which people believe that a man has two hearts. Which some of them also believe that you can divorce your wife by resembling her to your mother, and it has become impossible for you to take her back. So Allah Azza wa Jalla said, وَمَا جَعَلَ أَزْوَاجُكُمْ
وَمَا جَعَلَ أَزْوَاجَكُمُ اللَّائِي تُظَاهِرُونَ مِنْهُنَّ أُمَّهَاتِكُمْ.
Allah Azza wa Jalla, he said, وَمَا جَعَلَ أَزْوَاجُكُمْ, he has not made your wives whom you have divorced through zihar to become your mother. وَالْمُرَادُ بِالْجَالُ هُنَا الْجَالُ الشَّرْعِي. The jal here is that Allah has not divinely legislated that because you have done this, your wife become your mother. There is no way in the Sharia where your wife becomes your mother. In fact, no one can ever replace your mother. Even your auntie, the Prophet ﷺ only said that your auntie is just like the manzila of your mother. Is in the manzila of your mother, but it is not your mother. She's not your mother. Ummahatukum here is a jamu ummun. Ummun, ummahat. Wal ummu hiya allati wulidat. Is the woman that gave birth to you. As Allah Azza wa Jalla mentioned in Surah Al-Mujadila, alladhina yuzahiruna minkum min nisa'ihim ma hunna ummahatihim.
Alladhina yuzahiruna minkum min nisa'ihim ma hunna ummahatihim. In ummahatuhum illa allati waladnahum.
Allah Azza wa Jalla said that those women whom you have given talaq, you give them divorce through zihar. Ma hunna ummahatuhum. They are not your mother. In ummahatuhum, rather your mother is one who give birth to you. Mana tazaharuna minuhunna ay taquluna innahum alaykum kazuhuru ummahatikum. That is the statement whereby you begin to say that your wife resemble the back of your mother. فإذا أراد الواحد منهم في الجاهلية أن يطلق امرأته طلاقا بائنا قال لها أنت علي كظهر أمي. In the past, before Islam came, when somebody want to divorce his wife in such a way, it's an unjust way of divorce, whereby he will not want the woman to even stay. He doesn't want any form of reconciliation. He will say that you are just like the back of my mother. You understand? You say, Auntie Alayya, you are to me, kazahru ummi, like the back of my mother. What he means by that is that, innaki alayya haram, that you have become haram for me, fi jami'il ahwal, in every way. Kama anna zahru ummi alayya haramun fi jami'il ahwal. Just the same way the back of my mother has become haram for me to fondle. Ay fala yahillu li an urakibuki. It is haram for me. It is not lawful for me that I should not climb you. I should not mount you. Kama la yahillu li an arkabu ummi. Just the same way it is not permissible for me to sleep with my mother. This is what they do. وَحَصَّ الظُّهْرِ لِأَنَّهُ مَوْضِعُ الرُّكُوبِ. Allah Azza wa Jalla used zuhur, which is the back here, because it is the position where you climb. It is also the same thing like somebody saying, Anti alayya kabatni ummi. That you say that in the back, your wife is just like the example of the stomach of your mother. Allah Azza wa Jalla, He is using murder here because of the sacredness of it. If a man should sleep with his own mother, it is a great abomination. So they are using this kind of example in order to drive away their wife so that they will oppress them. There is one that some people still used to do today in order to oppress their women. I think the Hausa people, it is very, very common to them, where they will do sekeuku. I divorce you, I divorce you, I divorce you. In one standing. So that what? You will not have any way to come back again. All of this is the Jahili way of doing things. And Islam is a religion of justice. It does not like oppression. And that is why Allah Azza wa Jalla is about to cancel it. Every oppression in the Jahiliyyah, Allah Azza wa Jalla has finished them. فَالزِّهَارُ أَنْ يُشْبِهُ الرَّجُلُ زَوْجَتَهُ بِأُمِّهِ. Zihar is a situation whereby a man liking his wife to his mother. أَوْ بِمَنْ تُحَرِّمَ عَلَيْهِ عَلَى تَعْبِيدٍ. Or you now liking your wife to the one whom it is haram for you to marry. For example, your sister. You said, you are just like my sister. And you intended divorce by that. You say, وَمَا نَقَوْلُهُ وَمَا جَعَلَ أَزْوَاجَكُمُ اللَّائِي تُظَاهِرُونَ مِنْهُنَّ أُمَّهَاتُ أَيْ إِنَّهُ عَزَّ وَجَلَّ مَا جَعَلَ شَرِعًا أَنَّ زَوْجًا تَكُونُ أُمًّا بِمُجَرَّدِ الْقَوْلِ زَوْجٍ لَهَا. He said that what Allah Azza wa Jal means is that He has not divinely legislated that your wife will in any way become your mother just because you utter such kind of statement to her. Anti alayya kazahru ummi. That you are to me like the back of my mother does not make her your mother. That you are calling your wife mommy has not made her your mommy. فَزَوْجَةُ لَا تَكُونُ أُمًّا أَبَدًا. Your wife will never become your wife. Your wife will never become your mother in any way. وَلَا تُكْرِمْ بِمُجَرَّدِ الزِّهَارِ. And you can never divorce your wife by uttering this statement. It is not accepted in the Sharia. The same thing with those people who are doing sekeuku. If you do sekeuku, after you do sekeuku, nothing, as in, it is not counted. It will only be counted as one, and that woman will start doing her what? Idda. You know, some men hate Idda more than anything. Some men hate Idda. They say, how can I keep her in the house? Allah said, do it. Some men will say that, no, or even if she is going to do it, she's not going to do it in my house. Allah said, askinuhunna min haythu sakantum min wujidikum. She is going to stay with you in your bedroom, sir, and you will not even go to the parlor. You will go enter bedroom. Yes, that is it. There is a wisdom. Allah said, la'allallahu yuhdisu ba'da zalika amara. There could be reconciliation. Before you know it, in the night, you begin to touch your leg. You also touch her leg. Before you know it, you're already telling each other, I love you, I forgive you. May Allah Azza wa Jalla, may He unite our union. وَقَدْ بَيَّنَ اللَّهُ عَزَّ وَجَلَّ حُكْمُ الزِّهَارِ فِي سُورَةِ الْمُجَادِلَةِ. Allah Azza wa Jalla has already talked about the ruling of zihar in Suratul Mujadila, and He said it is a bad statement for somebody to utter. And not only a bad statement, it is also a false statement, because you know it's not your mother. You are saying it's your mother. How can you see your wife and you'll be calling your mother mama? Calling your wife mama. It is haram for you to utter such statement. So the same thing, the name you give to your mother should not be given to your wife. Stop calling your wife your mommy. She's not your mommy. She's not your mama. You understand? Some people will be calling their wife mama. It's not your mama. Too much love make you to be saying rubbish. You understand? Now he said, وَأَنَّ زَوْجَ لَا تَكُونُ أُمًّا بِمُجَرَّةِ الزِّهَارِ. That you mention zihar does not make your wife to become your mother. وَإِنَّمَا الْأُمْ هِيَ الَّتِي وُلِدَ. Your mommy is the one that gave birth to you. As Allah Azza wa Jalla has also mentioned, أَنَّهُ يَجِبُ عَلَى مَنْ ظَاهِرْ مِنْ زَوْجَتِهِ أَنْ لَا يَمَسَّهَا. The one who utters such kind of statement of zihar, it is now haram for you to touch your wife, but she's not divorced. But it is haram for you to touch her because Allah wants to punish you for saying such statement. Hatta yukaffiru, until you expiate for it, until you have to do ransom. For you to take a raqaba, you have to free a slave. If you do not have the means, sawma shahrayn mutatabi'ain, you will have to fast 2 consecutive months. Yes. For uttering such kind of bad statement, qawlu zur, fa in lam yastati at'imu 60 miskina. If you do not have power, you have to feed 60 people, and they will be full. You understand? 60 people in this kind of regime, but Allah Azza wa Jalla mentioned alladhina yuzahiruna.
Alladhina yuzahiruna minkum min nisa'ihim ma hunna ummahatihim in ummahatuhum illa allati waladnahum.
Allah Azza wa Jalla said, as for those women whom you have divorced through zihar from amongst your wives, ma hunna ummahatuhum, they are not your mother. In ummahatuhum illa allati waladnahum, rather your mother is the one who has given birth to you. Now
وَإِنَّهُمْ لَيَقُولُونَ قَوْلًا
وَإِنَّهُمْ لَيَقُولُونَ مُنكَرًا
وَإِنَّهُمْ لَيَقُولُونَ مُنكَرًا مِنَ الْقَوْلِ وَزُورًا.
He said that statement that you people are uttering is a bad statement, and not only a bad, it's a false statement. Qawlu zur is a false statement. وَإِنَّ اللَّهَ and Allah Azza wa Jalla, He is pardoning and He is what? Forgiving. May Allah forgive us our shortcomings. وَالَّذِينَ يُظَاهِرُونَ نَعْمَ. As for those women whom you have done zihar to, those who, of your wives whom you have pronounced zihar, what are you going to do? And you are wishing to what? To take back your statement. You are wishing to take back your statement because it is anger that made you to say that. What are you going to do? Allah Azza wa Jalla said, "Fatahariru raqabatin." You are going to free a slave min qabli an yatamassa, before you both of you will start touching each other. Zalikum. So that is an admonition for you. In fact, that is a disciplinary measure for you. And Allah Azza wa Jalla, He is well informed of what you do. Now, فَمَنْ لَمْ يَجِدْ فَصِيَامٌ.
فمن لم يجد فصيام شهرين متتابعين من قبل أن يتماسا.
If you are unable and you cannot find a slave to free, then you have to fast 2 consecutive months before you will have the ability to touch your wife. It's okay. فَمَنْ لَمْ يَسْتَطِعْ, and if you do not have the ability, فَإِطْعَامُ سِتِّينَ مِسْكِينًا, then you have to feed 60 miskin, 60 poor people. Suratul Mujadala, verse 2 to 4. Allah Azza wa Jalla, after He has talked about the zihar, so we have mentioned here that your mother is your mother, the one that gives birth to you, not your wife. Now Allah said, وَقَالَ تَعَالَى وَمَا جَعَلَ أَدِيَّاءَكُمْ
وَمَا جَعَلَ أَدِيَّاءَكُمْ أَبْنَاءَكُمْ ذَلِكُمْ قَوْلُكُمْ بِأَفْوَاهِكُمْ وَاللَّهُ يَقُولُ الْحَقَّ وَهُوَ يَهْدِي السَّبِيلَ.
Allah Azza wa Jalla said, وَمَا جَعَلَ أَدِيَّاءَكُمْ Abna'akum. Allah has not made those children whom you have adopted to become your real son. That is only a statement from your lips that you utter. Wallahu yaqulul haq. But Allah Azza wa Jalla, He utters, the right statement. Wa huwa yahdi sabil, and He guides to the right path. Qala Ibn Kathir mentioned here that this particular verse is revealed regarding the personality of Zayd ibn Harisa. Zayd bin Harisa was the slave of Nabi Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and our Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he freed him from slavery and he adopted him to become his son before prophethood. All of this happened before prophethood, before he became a prophet. And people used to call him Zayd bin Muhammad. People used to call him Zayd bin Muhammad. Although he is not the real father, but he is the adopted father. فَأَرَادَ اللَّهُ أَن يَقْطَعَ هَذَا الْإِلْحَاقِ. Allah Azza wa Jalla wants to abolish this custom because of a lot of things that it brought about. وَهَذِهِ نِسْبَةُ بِقَوْلِهِ. That is why Allah Azza wa Jalla says, وَمَا جَعَلَ أَدْعِيَاءَكُمْ أَبْنَاءَكُمْ. That the children you have adopted cannot be your real children. Allah also mentioned in another surah, in Suratul Ahzab, sorry, in this same surah, in Suratul Ahzab, verse 40, مَا كَانَ مُحَمَّدٌ
أبا أحد من رجالكم ولكن رسول الله وخاتم النبيين.
He said Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam is not the father of anybody. Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam is not the father of any of you, but rather he is the messenger of Allah and he is the seal of prophethood. And Allah Azza wa Jalla, he knows everything. So Allah Azza wa Jalla wants everything to be placed in the normal in the normal way, so that children will not be taken and given to another person, unlike what we are seeing today. Just like what we are seeing today. Is this surrogacy they call it? Yes. Whereby people today, they now take the sperm of an unknown being, the sperm of an unknown being, they implant it and fertilize it with the egg of a woman and put it inside her womb. And it will be, the child begin to grow. Yes, and they will not claim it to be their own child. The child will grow up calling that man his father, unknown to him that his father is not the father that raised him, but he's just an adopted father. Or some of the things that people will do, they go to the orphanage home, pick a child from there, and they will now name the child with their own name. This is haram in Islam. It is not to be done. And that is why Allah wants to scatter this custom. Because if it is to be done, a lot of issues will come in. The issue of inheritance will have problem. The issue of marriage will have issue. Because that kind of a child, it will not be impossible for that child to marry a woman simply because he has already been adopted. And it is not to be so. So Ibn Kathir said that this is a story of Zayd ibn Harisa. That what actually happened was that Zayd ibn Harisa was with his uncles one day, not in Makkah, not even in Medina. He was with his uncle in another place called Tir. The place is called Tir. Now this particular place was now attacked by some of the Arab people. And they now captured them. They captured them and they now sold him in Makkah. They came to sell him in Makkah. Then there is something called slavery. They sold him in Makkah and a man called Hakim ibn Hizam now bought him in Makkah. After buying him, because then they buy human beings as slavery. So he now took this boy, that is Zayd ibn Harisa, and now presented him as a gift to her auntie, who is Khadija bint Huwaylid. When Khadija bint Huwaylid was giving Zayd ibn Harisa, she also gave as a gift to her husband Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Then Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he now freed him and now adopted him. Wa kana abuhu Harisa yabhasu anhu laylan nahara. Then the father of Haris continued to look for his own child. Both night and day he was searching for his child and did not know that his child has been sold to slavery. Then he was now informed in his place that there is a man who bought him. And this man is living in Makkah. So they now came to Makkah and him together with the uncle of Zayd ibn Haris, they came to the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam and they were now proposing to the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam that this is our child. This is our child. That leave him so that we will give you ransom of what you have already paid to buy him. فَقَالَ لَهُمَ النَّبِي صلى الله عليه وسلم. The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, rather I will be the one to be generous to you people. So I'm going to call Zayd and I will give him the option of either going with you people or staying with me. And I will allow him to go with you people if he chooses you without collecting anything from you people. And if he chooses me, I cannot replace him with anything. There is no money you people are going to give me that will make me to release him. Then Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam now called Zayd bin Harisa and now gave him the opportunity to choose between him and his original parent. Who did he want to choose? Fahtara Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Then he chooses the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Then they now ask him, Tahtarul Ubudiyya, why are you choosing to become a slave? Instead of coming, you have the option to come to your real parent. ثم قال رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم لقريش. When they uttered this, the Prophet now went out and he told the Quraysh, أشهدكم أن زيدا ابني. I testify before you people that Zayd has become my son. أرثه ويرثني. I will inherit him and he can also inherit me. This is what the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said. Because the adopted son will now have the right to what? To inherit. There is something that happened here which I want to point out to our sisters. You can see Khadija bint Huwaylid was giving gift to who? To her husband in the form of slave. A slave man, he gave the husband a gift. In this Ramadan, try to give your husband a gift. Sisters, did you hear? Don't always say, give me, give me, give me, give me, like a baby. You understand? Give a gift to your husband. All the time your husband is the one giving, giving, giving. Don't you know that is a parasitic relationship? Sometimes even if it is a ring, buy it and give to your husband. Singlet, buy it and give it to your husband. You go out, buy sugar. Go to the barbecue. You know barbecue? That fish, that big fish, I think they are selling it 5,000. Buy it and give it. Say, my husband, only you should eat it. Say, my darling husband, it is for you alone. Sisters, will you do that? Inna lillahi wa inna ilayhi raji'un. Sisters, will you do that? Inshallah. May Allah Azza wa Jalla make it easy for you. Now, coming back to our tafsir, when they had the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam announcing to the people of Quraysh that their child has become his own son, they became happy. That in fact he is with what? He is with a good man. وَذَهَبَ وَتَرَكَهُ. Both of them now left and they left with him. I mean, they left their son with the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. All of this used to happen in Jahiliyyah and the beginning of Islam. يَتَبَنَّ الرَّجُلِ إِبْنَ لِغَيْرِهِ. So men will adopt children that is not their own children. Why? Because yujibu hulku, because they love their what? Their character. They will now attribute that child to themselves. Now, another thing that we can get from this story again. Look at the way Zayd bin Harisa chooses the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He was with the Prophet sallam as a slave. Remember, a slave. And he chooses the Prophet over his own parent. Some of us are also keeping people's children with us. We are training people's children. Do you think if they should bring their parent today and you, who do you think they are going to choose? Some of you keep people's children as if they have become your slave. Even if they are your slaves, Zayd bin Haris is still a slave. But look at the way he was being treated. To the point that he is choosing Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam over his own parents. But today what happened? A child that they give you to train, he will be the one to wash. He will be the one to, after washing his or her own clothes, wash your children's clothes, wash your own clothes, wash your husband's clothes, wash the toilet, wash outside, in fact, it becomes like a machine. Is that not what used to happen? May Allah forgive us our shortcoming. Whoever is touched by this should have a rethink. He should have a rethink. Some child, if they have the means to run away, they will run away. Because of the way you are maltreating them. May Allah Azza wa Jalla, may He grant us wisdom in training our children and the people's children that are with us. Now, what it means is that it said, وَكَانُ يُعَمِّلُونَ الْأَدْلِيَةَ مُعَمَّلَةُ الْأَبْنَاءِ مِنْ كُلِّ وَجْهٍ. You will see that the people, those children that they have adopted, they will be dealing with him just the same way they deal with their own children, in every way. Those children can have the means, they have the chance to enter your wife, even though your wife may not be putting on hijab. In those times, that is what it means, because they have become like your own children. And Allah Azza wa Jalla want to overrule this. Because if it were to be like that, they will not be looking at your wife, which is haram for them to look at her. Because they are not related. You are the one that is saying is your son. He's not really your son. وَالْمَانَ مَا جَعْلَ أَدِيَّاكُمْ الَّذِينَ تَدْعُونَهُ وَتَتَبَنُّونَهُمْ مِنْ أَوْلَادِ غَيْرِكُمْ أَبْنَاءَكُمْ حَقِيقَةً لَا قَدْرًا وَلَا شَرِعًا. He said, what Allah means is that Allah has not made those children that you have adopted to become your son, which is from another person's children, to become your real son. Not naturally and not also divinely legislated. Because naturally they belong to another, what's it called? Father. The child is belonging to another father. It's not your own children. لأن الله عز وجل نفى أن يكون الأدعياء أبناء شرعا. And Allah also negated that a child should ever become your own son, which is not your real son, divinely legislated. It is not possible. فَلَيْسَ الْمُدَاعِ ابْنًا لِمَنْ إِدْعَاهُ لَا قَدْرًا وَلَا شَرْعًا. So anyone who is adopting a child, Sharia does not permit you. Naturally, it is not even right. So وَلَا يَجُوزُ أَنْ يَنْسَبْ إِلَيْهِ. It is not permitted that you now attribute somebody's child to yourself, because there are a lot of tahrim and tahlil that will follow. The issue of nafaqat is there. The issue of inheritance, like I've already mentioned, they are there. So we have to be very, very careful of that. Then Allah Azza wa Jalla ended it by saying, ذَلِكُمْ قَوْلُكُمْ
بِأَفْوَاهِكُمْ وَاللَّهُ يَقُولُ الْحَقَّ وَهُوَ يَهْدِي السَّبِيلَ. Allah
Azza wa Jalla said, you see that statement that you people used to utter, that the woman has become your mother, or the children of other people's children has become your son. It is only a statement that you utter. It is your statement which you utter by your lips, by your tongue. There is no reality to it. What it means is that that you are saying that your wife has become to you like the mother, like the back of your mother, is just a mere utterances. La yaj'al zawjatun umman. Allah has not made your wife to become your mother. You understand? Wala yuharimuha. And your wife is not haram for you to meet, just because you utter such statement. وهذا الإدعاء إنما هو مجرد قول بأفواهكم. It is only a mere statement. لا يجعل ابن الغير ابنا لمن ادعاه. A child whom you have adopted cannot become your real child. ولا يغير من الواقع شيء. In fact, it has not changed anything, any fact. It doesn't change anything. فالابن المدعي ابن لأبيه. The child whom you have adopted is the son of another child, another person's child. You understand? نسب القدرا وشرعا. In Sharia and also naturally. وليس ابن لمن ادعاه لا قدرا ولا شرعا, as I have already mentioned. So it is not right for you to attribute somebody's child to yourself. Just because they give you somebody's child to train, you are now going to register that person. You now say that the person's name is now Fatima to Isah. Now you born him. She has her own father. Use her own father's name. You know, some of this jahili practice is still going on within our society. Now Allah Azza wa Jalla said, ذَلِكُمْ قَوْلُكُمْ بِأَفْوَاهِكُمْ. Allah Azza wa Jalla, He is reprimanding them. Allah is rebuking them. تَوْبِيهًا وَالتَّكْرِيعَ لَهُمْ كَيْفَ يَقُولُونَ قَوْلًا لَيْسَ لَهُ حَقِيقًا. How will you say a statement that is not a reality? وَاللَّهُ يَقُولُ الْحَقِّ. Allah Azza wa Jalla, He is saying the truth, the reality. أي إِنَّ قَوْلَهُ عَزَّ وَجَلَّ كُلُّهُ حَقٌّ. The statement of Allah, all of them, is what is the reality, and it is the truth. وَعَدْلٌ, and it is just. كما قال عز وجل, as Allah Azza wa Jalla has already mentioned in another verse, وَتَمَّتْ كَلِمَةُ رَبِّكَ صِدْقًا وَعَدْلًا. Allah Azza wa Jalla said He has perfected His statement The statement of your Lord has been perfected. Sidqan in truth, wa adla and in justice. Sidqan fil ahbar. In terms of the statement of Allah, in terms of information, they are true. Nothing like falsehood inside. Wa adnan fil ahkam. And it is also just in terms of what rulings. If Allah said that the issue of adoption is cancelled, it is because there is wisdom in it. If Allah said the issue of zihar it should be cancelled, it is because there is wisdom in that ruling. وَقَالَ تَعَالَى عَنْ كَلَامِهِ Allah Azza wa Jalla also mentioned regarding his statement when he said regarding his book.
لَا يَأْتِيهِ بِبَاطِلٍ مِّن بَيْنِ يَدَيْهِ وَلَا مِنْ خَلْفِهِ تَنزِيلٌ مِّنْ حَكِيمٍ حَمِيدٍ. Allah
Azza wa Jalla is talking about his statement. His statement is contained in the Quran. Allah Azza wa Jalla said, لَا يَأْتِيهِ الْبَاطِلِ. That the falsehood will not approach this statement, the statement of Allah. Min bayni yaday, whether it may be from the front, wala min khalfi, or from behind, tanzilun min hakimin hamid. It is actually a revelation from the one who is wise and the one who is praiseworthy. That is Allah Azza wa Jalla. So the statement of Allah Azza wa Jalla, haqqun, is a reality. It is the truth. It is justice. Laysa lahu batin yukhalifu zahiri. There is nothing like there is a batini knowledge. There is an inner knowledge that is not going to go against the zahir, the external expression of it. As the people of Batiniya will continue to say, or the Ahlul Tahrif, those deviant people will say, when Allah will say something, they will say, no, this statement of Allah, the way you are seeing it now, it is not like that. There is the hidden knowledge of it. Ilimul Batini. They say you are only looking from the surface, and them they are looking from the angle. So if the angle, the inner message you are showing out now, if it goes against what we are seeing outside, we will tell you that you are a deviant. If Allah Azza wa Jalla said he has hand, we believe he has hand. Don't begin to say, there is a hidden knowledge to this. What Allah means is power. Allah Azza wa Jalla, his statement is true, is real, and there is no hidden knowledge that goes against the external expression of it. وَهُوَ يَهْدِي السَّبِيلَ. Allah Azza wa Jalla said, he is the one who guides to the path. أَيْ يَهْدِي مَنْ يَشَاءُ مِنْ عِبَادِهِ السَّبِيلَ. Allah guides whomever he wills from his servant to the right path. May Allah Azza wa Jalla, may he continue to guide us to the right path. Wallahi, many people are wallowing in ignorance and misguidance. Wallah. So if Allah Azza wa Jalla has guided you, continue to pray, may Allah keep you upon that guidance. You see some people today, they are Muslim, tomorrow they are unbeliever. They have divorced Allah Azza wa Jalla. May Allah Azza wa Jalla forbid that for us and our children, our great-grandchildren. Amen. Now hidayah, what is it? Hidayah? Guidance. Guidance can be divided into two. There is hidayah to dalala wal irshad ila al-haq, and there is hidayah to tawfiq ila al-haq. Hidayah to dalala wal irshad is that guidance whereby there is need for what? Proof. For example, hadhihi ammatul jami'in nas. All this particular guidance is for the generality of the human being. Fa'arsalallahu rusul. Allah has sent messengers to come and guide. You understand? To come and guide people. Wa anzal al-kutub. Allah sent books to come and guide people. Shahr Ramadan alladhi unzila fihi al-Quran hudan lin-nas.
فيه القرآن هدى للناس وبينات من الهدى والفرقان.
The Quran has come to serve as guidance, to tell you between that which is right and that which is wrong. And the same thing with other books that has been revealed before Quran. وَأَقَامَ بِذَلِكَ الْحُجَّةَ عَلَى الْخَلْقِ. And all of this is to establish proof upon the creations of Allah. As Allah Azza wa Jalla has said in another verse in Suratul Nisa, verse 165, Allah said, رُسُلًا
مُبَشِّرِينَ وَمُنذِرِينَ لِئَلَّا يَكُونَ لِلنَّاسِ عَلَى اللَّهِ حُجَّةٌ مِّن بَعْدِ الرُّسُلِ.
Allah Azza wa Jalla said, رُسُلًا مُبَشِّرِينَ. Rusulan, they are messengers. Mubashirin, and they give good news. Wamunzirin, and they warn against the danger of disobeying Allah. So that human being will not have upon Allah any form of proof after these messengers has come to deliver their message. So this is what Hidayatul Dalalatu wal Irshad. They have already guided us. They have already asked you that this is this. This one is the Quran. This one is Chia. This one is table. This one is black. This one is white. You already know. Now for you now to accept it is another type of guidance. That is the Hidayatul Tawfiq. Hidayatul Tawfiq ila al-haq. هذه خاصة بالمؤمنين. This is only specifically for the believers. Because some people may know that Islam is the truth, but they will not be guided to Islam. How many people, they do not have any reason not to accept Islam, but they are not Muslims. Why? Because Allah has not guided them. Allah guides whomever He wills, and He leads astray whomever He wills as well. And no one will be led astray except the fasik, the one who is rebellious. May Allah Azza wa Jalla, may He guide all of us. Now Allah said Sabil. What is the Sabil here? Huwa tariqul mustaqim. It is the straight path that connects you to the Sa'adatu fi darain, that gives you the happiness in this life and in the day of Qiyamah. For huwa azza wa jalla yubayyin. Allah Azza wa Jalla is making clarification. Wa yufassil, and He is explaining. Wa yurshid ila tariqul mustaqim. He is guiding to the straight path. Wa yuwaffiqu ilayhi man sha'a min ibadihi. Allah Azza wa Jalla will make whomever He wills from His servant to be able to be guided to that straight path. It is only one path. La yata'addad. It is not a multiple path. As Allah Azza wa Jalla has mentioned in another surah, in Suratul Al-An'am, verse 153, Allah said, wa anna hadha sirati
mustaqiman fattabi'uhu wa la tattabi'u subulan fatafarraqa bikum an sabili.
Allah Azza wa Jalla said, you see this my path? Wa anna hadha sirati, this is my path, a very straight path. Fattabi'uhu, follow it. Follow it. Wa la tattabi'u subul. Do not begin to follow all these subul. Subul. Don't follow different paths. Else, fatafarraqa bikum an sabili. Else, it is going to separate you from the path of Allah. The path of Allah is Islam. The path of Allah is the Sunnah of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So the path that leads to Allah is not Christianity. The path that leads to Allah is not Judaism or all the other ism. The path that leads to Allah is Islam. The path that leads to Allah is the Sunnah. The path that leads to Allah is not Tariqa to Tijaniya. The path that leads to Allah is not Shia, is not Qadariya or Naqshbandiya and other dia. The path that leads to Allah is Sunnah of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Do not follow any other path, any other tariqah, else it will mislead you from the path of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Rather, you should follow the tariqah to Muhammadiyah, that is following the path of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. If somebody were to come and say, come and follow my path, my own path is tariqah to Isa'iyah, he say, this one is an innovated path, we will not follow you. But unfortunately, Shaitan finds his way to gather people, and they are very, very okay to say, we are tariqah to Tijaniyah. They say they are following the path of Tijaniyah. They do not say they are following the path of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. If there is anyone worthy of following his path that will have another path that can be called, then we can say we are tariqah to Abu Bakariyah, or tariqah to Umariyah, or tariqah to Usmaniyah, or tariqah to whom? Aliyah. But there is nothing like that. There is nothing like that. It is stupidity when you say we are tariqah to Tijaniyah. What do you mean? If there's anybody that is worthy of that, that should be the companions. But there was nothing like that in their own time. Now, where did you bring your own from? But when you are telling them, they are looking at you as if you are enemy to them, not knowing that we are actually telling them the truth. May Allah make them to understand. Now, let's quickly take the last verse. Now, Allah Azza wa Jalla said, Udu'uhum.
ادعوهم لآبائهم هو أقسط عند الله فإن لم تعلموا آباءهم فإخوانكم في الدين ومواليكم وليس عليكم جناح فيما أخطأتم به ولكن ما تعمدت قلوبكم
وَكَانَ اللَّهُ غَفُورًا رَحِيمًا. Allah Azza wa Jalla said, Udu'uhum, call them, li'abaihim, by their father's name. call those children by their father's name. Huwa aqsatu, it is more just in the law with Allah. Fa in lam ta'lamu, but if you do not know aba'ahum, you do not know the name of their father, fa ihwanukum fid din, they are your brothers in the deen. Wa mawalikum, and they are your freed servants. Wa laysa alaykum junah, there is no sin upon you. Fima ahtatum bihi, in that which you made mistake. Walakin ma ta'ammadat qulubukum, but there will be sin in that which you intentionally done. What you intentionally intended from your heart. Wa kana Allahu ghafuran rahima, and Allah Azza wa Jalla, He is forgiving and He is merciful. After Allah Azza wa Jalla has already negated the practice of adoption in the previous verse that we mentioned, for those people who are adopting children that is not their own children, Allah Azza wa Jalla now followed it by the commandment that we should call them by the name of their real fathers. Ibn Kathir said that Haza Amrun Nasihun. This is abrogating, this command is abrogating that which has come before in the beginning part of Islam. Min jiwazil ada'il abna, in the fact that people are adopting children that is not their own children. Allah Azza wa Jalla, He is now commanding that their name should be returned back to them, to their real father. Wa anna hadha huwa al-adlu wal-qist. This is more just. In sabuhum li-abaihim, attribute them, connect them, relate them to their father. Faqulu fulan ibn fulan, you should call them son of so and so. If his name is Zayd, it should be Zayd ibn Harisa, not Zayd ibn Muhammad. Li abihi, he should relate him to his father, minan nasab, his real father that gave birth to him. Wa jaddi, or his grandfather, that is the father of his father. There is nothing wrong. You can say your name. For example, I can say my name is Isah Ogedengbe, although it is my father's name. That is what Ogedengbe. So, but I can say my name is Isah Ogedengbe. It's okay. In Islam, it is okay for you to connect your name to your grandfather's name because your grandfather is still your father. I hope you understand that. But it is not for you to now take the name of another strange person who does not share that lineage and assume him to become your father. And Ibn Umar radiallahu anhu who called Ma kunna nadu Zayd ibn Harisa ibn Shurahil, he said we do not used to call Zayd ibn Harisa his name. Zayd, the son of Harisa, ibn Shurahil, the son of Shurahil, except that we used to call him Zayd ibn Muhammad. But when this particular verse was revealed, the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam now told Zayd, come, your name anta Zayd ibn Harisa ibn Shurahil, your name is Zayd ibn Harisa. So you are not Zayd ibn Muhammad again. Do we understand? So he understood it like that. Allah Azza wa Jalla said, فَإِن لَمْ تَعْلَمُوا آبَاءَكُمْ He said, if you do not know their father, then they are your brothers in the deen and they are your free slave. If you do not know their real fathers, perhaps sometimes some useless fathers or parents, they will born children and go and throw them away. We have seen that situation before. Whether they will say they have find one as in new baby that was just born. They find him on the road. You have no way in which you can get the father. If you cannot get them, then they are your brothers in the deen and they are your free slave. Bimana and now hatta halu adamu ilmukum bi abaihim. Despite the fact you do not know their real father, it is not still allowed for you to bear, for them to begin to bear your name. Despite the fact that the name of their father is unknown. You cannot, because of that, and say that since the name of their father, you don't know the name of their father, he should be bearing my name. No, it is not for you to do that. La yajuzu lakum an tansabuhum lighairi abaihim. It is not for you to attribute them to other than their father. Bal uduuhum biqawlikum. You can say ikhwanuna fi din. They are our brothers in the deen. Wa mawalina. Fahum ikhwanukum fi din. They are your brothers in the deen. لأن المؤمنين بعضهم أولياء بعض. Allah Azza wa Jalla says والمؤمنين والمؤمنات بعضهم أولياء بعض. So we are allied to one another. So we become friends, we become brothers. Ibn Kathir said, وَأَمَّا دَعْوَةُ الْغَيْرِ إِبْنَ عَلَى سَبِيلِ التَّكْرِيمِ. But if you were to call somebody your son, you call somebody my son, as a form of honoring that person, then فَلَيْسَ مِمَّا نَهَى عَنْهُ فِي هَذِهِ الْآيَةِ. It is not what Allah Azza wa Jalla has negated in this verse. If you see a child now, I can see Mujahid, I say, Mujahid, come my son. It doesn't mean that I am saying that I'm the father of Mujahid. It is a form of what? Respect. It is a form of what? Respect. My son. Oh, my son, come here. Oh, my daughter, come here. Oh, my baby. You are calling another person's child your baby. It doesn't mean that you are actually the father. It's a form of respect. Then this one, there is nothing wrong with it. Because the Prophet ﷺ was reported to have said in Sahih Muslim, he called somebody, Ya Ibni, oh my son. I hope you understand. Now Allah said, وَلَيْسَ عَلَيْكُمْ جُنَاهٌ فِيمَا أَخْطَأْتُمْ بِهِ.
وَلَيْسَ عَلَيْكُمْ جُنَاحٌ فِيمَا أَخْطَأْتُمْ بِهِ وَلَكِنْ مَا تَعَمَّدَتْ قُلُوبُكُمْ. Allah
Azza wa Jalla said, it is not a sin upon you for the mistake that you do. You understand? There is no sin upon you if you did a mistake by calling them with your name instead of their father's name by mistake. Maybe the child is Zayd bin Muhammad as an adopted name before, and we now found out that his name is now Zayd bin Harisa, and you now wanted to call him because it is now part of what you used to call him. You now say Zayd bin Muhammad. Instead of this is a mistake from you, Allah said there is no sin upon you because this is a mistake. You actually forget. وَهَذَا مِنْ بَابٍ مَنْهِيَةٍ لَا هَرَجَ وَلَا إِثْمَ وَلَا تَبْعَ فِيهِ مِنَ الْكَفَارَةِ أَوْ فِدْيَةٍ. In those matters that Allah has made prohibited, if you commit them by mistake, there is no sin for you. There is nothing like expiation, kafara for you, or ransom. For example, if you should commit a mistake, if you commit a sin now by mistake, or you did not know, jahil, you are actually ignorant of it, and you did it by mistake, then in Islam, fala shay'un alayk, there is nothing upon you. This is where we have what? Uzuru bi jahal. Excuse of what? Ignorance. Because you do not know. Even if it is something that has to do with kufr. Just like we mentioned yesterday where that man, he said that I am your Lord and you are my servant. He was referring to Allah. He did this out of what? Min shiddatil farq. As a result of extreme happiness. It doesn't mean that that person has become what? Kafiri. How can you say Allah is now your servant? He did it unconsciously, by mistake. So with this, there is no sin upon that person. And the same thing again, if Allah Azza wa Jalla also give a command and you make a mistake in it, there is nothing upon you. There is no fidya upon you, no ransom for you. Except in a situation whereby you kill somebody. If you kill somebody, then on that one is an exception because of the Isah Ogedengbe. Because the greatness of that matter is too great, Allah Azza wa Jalla attach what? Fidya to it, even though it is a mistake. Remember Allah said, وَمَنْ قَتَلَ مُؤْمِنًا خَطَأً فَتَحْرِيرُ رَقَبَةٍ. Allah Azza wa Jalla said that if you mistakenly kill somebody, you have to free a slave. It is in Suratul Nisa or Ma'idah, Suratul Nisa. But ordinarily, if you make a mistake, Allah Azza wa Jalla said, Rabbana la tu'ahizna in nasina aw akhtana. Oh Allah, do not hold us liable for the mistake we did or for the forgetfulness that we do. And Allah Azza wa Jalla, when He said this, Qala Allah qad fa'alt, I have done that. Allah Azza wa Jalla said, I have done that. Even if you were to swear that you will not do something, you swear that, Wallahi, I will not do something, and you now mistakenly do that, or you forget that you swear and you now do that, there is nothing upon you. Do you understand? There is nothing upon you. If you were also to connect talaq, you tell your wife that, or you tell your wife that if I should go to Kaduna, you are divorced. It's just an example. He said, if I should go to Kaduna, you are divorced. And you now went to Kaduna by mistake. You forget that you actually said that. It is by mistake. You are actually going to Kanu and you now branch in Kaduna. So Allah Azza wa Jalla, there is nothing upon you. There is no kafara. Fala yaqau talaq. Talaq has not happened. Don't say that because I have done so, talaq has happened. No. Wakaza law fa'ala mukaffaran aw madunahu muhti'an. Even though it is something that is as grave as kufur, as long as you did it through mistake, or you do not know, or you are being forced, then in this case you are freed. There is nothing upon you. You understand? There is nothing upon you. So فَكُلُّ مَا فَعَلَهُ الْإِنسَانُ مِنْ بَابِ الْخَطَأِ فَلَا إِثْمَ عَلَيْهِ. You understand? Anything that you do As a result of mistake, there is nothing upon you. وَلَيْسَ عَلَيْكُمْ جُنَاحٌ فِيمَا أَخْطَأْتُمْ بِهِ وَلَكِنْ مَا تَأَمَّدَتْ قُلُوبُكُمْ. What Allah is going to hold you responsible is that which you intentionally intended. That one which comes out of your mind. Truly, that is why some of the scholars said, if you are angry and you divorce your wife, it is not counted. Because your wife did something that is so enormous. You say, in fact, you are divorced, I don't need you in my house. It's because your head is out of it, and your brain is out of your head. When your head comes back, you say, did I actually say that? They say, you say that. I must be mad if I say that. You know, some people, when they are angry, they don't know what they are saying again. They can be saying anything. They are not in control of themselves. So it is only going to count if actually it comes from your mind. Even though you may be angry, but you are in control of your mind, then it is counted. So this is what the hadith is talking about. And Allah Azza wa Jalla ended this by saying, وَلَكِنْ مَا تَأَمَّدَتْ قُلُوبُكُمْ. Allah Azza wa Jalla is threatening you here. That whoever, in the hadith of the Prophet said, whoever attributes another person's child to another father, or another slave to another master, فَعَلَيْهِ لَعْنَةُ اللَّهِ وَالْمَلَائِكَةِ وَالنَّاسِ أَجْمَعِينَ. Upon him is the what? Is the curse of Allah, the curse of the angel, and the curse of all the human beings. Ahraja Ibn Majah. Ibn Majah reported this hadith. Allah Azza wa Jalla ended by saying, وَكَانَ اللَّهُ غَفُورًا رَحِيمًا. Allah Azza wa Jalla, He is forgiving and He is merciful. May Allah forgive us our mistakes. So Allah Azza wa Jalla, it is out of His forgiving nature and His mercifulness that He does not hold us from our mistakes. If not, He would hold us for our mistake. But we should know that our mistake that we are talking about here is the one that has to do with Allah. As for that which has to do with human being does not understand that you do something by mistake. Ignorance of the law is not an excuse in the human being. You understand? So if you go and slap police and you say you don't know that slapping police is not right in Nigerian constitution, you will know, you will go and learn Nigerian constitution inside the prison. Subhanaka Allahumma bihamdik ashhadu an la ilaha illa anta astaghfiruka wa atubu ilaik. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.